Welcome to True Story Testers. Most viewers are probably familiar with Pablo Escobar, but they may not have heard of notorious Colombian drug lord Griselda Blanco. So, how much of her story did Netflix get right, and what did they get wrong? The Netflix series portrays Griselda Blanco's decision to kill her second husband after a traumatic event, but did this really happen? Indeed, Griselda did kill her second husband, Alberto Bravo, but the Netflix series takes some liberties with how it happened. While in the series it is suggested that Blanco killed Alberto after he coerced her into sleeping with their boss, Alberto's own brother, in order to get their debt canceled, in reality there is no evidence that this occurred. In the series, this incident is what motivates Griselda to run to the United States and start her own cocaine empire. However, it is most likely that Alberto and Griselda were already involved in Colombia's criminal underworld, and there's no evidence to suggest that her husband ever forced Griselda to sleep with his brother. Rather, it seems that Griselda started suspecting that Alberto had been stealing money from their operation, and so she ended up confronting him outside a nightclub. This turned into a full-on shootout, which left Alberto Bravo and 6 of his bodyguards dead, whereas Blanco made it out alive with only a small wound. In fact, not only did Griselda murder her second husband, she is also suspected of having her first husband killed as well. While the series takes place after Blanco's first husband, Carlos Trujillo, died under mysterious circumstances, it is believed that she ordered his execution after a business dispute. However, it doesn't end there. Griselda's third husband, Dario Sepulveda, portrayed by Alberto Guerra in the Netflix series, was also killed on his wife's orders after he left for Colombia with their son Michael. It's easy to understand why Griselda Blanco was nicknamed the Black Widow. So, did Griselda really kill her husband? Yes. The Netflix series depicts Griselda Blanco as having orchestrated the infamous 1979 massacre at Dadeland Mall in Florida. But was it really her doing? Indeed, on July 11, 1979, a group of armed hitmen employed by Griselda launched an attack on the Crown Liquor shop situated in the Dadeland Mall. With their submachine guns blazing, they unleashed a barrage of bullets, fatally striking Coke Jefe, German Paneso, and his bodyguard Juan Carlos Hernandez. The aftermath was described vividly by a medical examiner who likened the victims' bodies to Swiss cheese, as reported in a 1979 Washington Post article. The assailants, after wreaking havoc in the liquor store, continued their onslaught in the parking lot, showering bullets upon cars before making a swift escape in a van conspicuously marked Happy Time Complete Party Supply. When authorities later stumbled upon the abandoned van, laden with firearms and bulletproof vests, they dubbed it a war wagon. This notorious incident, now etched in the annals of Miami's crime history, is accurately depicted in the Netflix series, where Griselda Blanco uses this chaotic execution as a way of asserting her dominance in the cocaine underworld. Indeed, it seems that this kind of extravagant violence was Griselda's trademark. As a woman, she needed to impose herself more than her male counterparts in order to gain the men's respect and fear. Despite suspicions of Blanco's involvement in orchestrating the hit, she managed to evade prosecution for this crime. So, was Griselda Blanco really responsible for the Dadeland massacre? Yes. One of the standout characters in the series is Carla, a sex worker and close confidant of Griselda, who becomes deeply involved in her illicit trafficking operations. Portrayed by Colombian singer-songwriter Karol G, Carla is not directly based on any single individual, but rather, she embodies traits and experiences drawn from multiple women believed to have collaborated with Blanco in her drug smuggling endeavors. While there isn't a single real-life counterpart to Carla, a character who is pivotal to Griselda's early ventures in the United States, various accounts of Blanco's ascent highlight the significant role played by numerous Colombian women in her smuggling network. Despite Carla not being a direct representation of any specific person, her portrayal has resonated with viewers due to its authenticity as well as the compelling performance delivered by Karol G. For the reggaeton artist, known off-screen as Carolina Geraldo Navarro, this role marks a significant breakthrough in her acting career. In real life, Karol G boasts a massive following, with over 67 million Instagram followers, and has earned 5 Guinness World Records for her music, including the most recent accolade in 2023 for becoming the first female vocalist to achieve Billboard's #1 spot with a Spanish-language album. Karol G underwent a remarkable transformation for her role as Carla, shedding her signature pink hair both on-screen and off, as evidenced at the Miami film premiere. Fans eagerly anticipate her return to her usual appearance during her upcoming Latin American tour in February. So, was Carla a real person? No. In Netflix's version of Griselda's story, there is a scene where Detective June Hawkins says that 3 of Griselda's children, Dixon, Uber, and Osvaldo, met tragic ends while the godmother was incarcerated. The detective speculates that whoever orchestrated these killings did so just prior to Griselda's impending release, in order to make her freedom more painful. However, this account isn't entirely accurate. In reality, Uber and Osvaldo were murdered several years before Griselda's release, likely due to their own entanglement in the drug underworld. Upon Griselda's release from prison in 2004, 2 of her sons were still alive. She resided near or with Dixon and Michael in Medellin, Colombia, until her passing in 2012. Dixon's demise occurred in the years following his mother's assassination, although the exact date and cause remain unclear. On the other hand, Michael has publicly stated that all his family members met their ends due to their involvement in the drug trade, prompting him to distance himself from that world. While the deaths of Griselda's family members are undeniably tragic, the circumstances surrounding them diverge from Netflix's portrayal of the events. Indeed, the series rearranges the timeline in order to make the story more satisfying and dramatic. So, were 3 of Griselda's children killed while she was in prison? No. Another one of the most compelling characters in the series is Griselda's chief enforcer, Jorge Rivi Ayala Rivera. Rivi was indeed a real figure, but is the bizarre phone sex scandal depicted in the show based on a true story? The story of Griselda Blanco's drug empire is full of strange details and unbelievable events, and this one of them. Indeed, Blanco's top assassin, Rivi, played by Martin Rodriguez in the Netflix adaptation, did lose his credibility as a witness after it was revealed that he had phone sex with the state attorney's secretary. In the series, Jorge Ayala Rivera is depicted as a hitman dedicated entirely to carrying out Griselda's most violent and bloodthirsty orders. He is also a character who fuels Griselda's bloodlust and encourages juror paranoia. However, by the end of the story, he is agreeing to testify against her in order to avoid the death penalty for himself. Following Blanco's conviction on drug charges in 1985, she faced additional charges of 3 counts of first-degree murder. Despite once being her trusted assassin, Rivi opted to testify against Blanco in exchange for avoiding the death penalty, disclosing her orders for him to carry out killings. However, the case took a dramatic turn when it emerged that Rivi had engaged in phone sex with 2 female secretaries at the state attorney's office while incarcerated. This revelation severely affected Rivi's credibility as a witness, resulting in a life sentence. Presently, he remains incarcerated, with his most recent parole request being denied in 2013. So, was Griselda's top enforcer, Rivi, involved in a phone sex scandal? Yes. A captivating aspect of Netflix's Griselda lies in the portrayal of police detective June Hawkins, who discerns early on that a surge of drug-related crimes plaguing Miami is orchestrated by a woman. June Hawkins is, in fact, a real individual, still living today, and was actively consulted by the creative team during the show's development. In the series, Hawkins is underestimated by the men around the same way Blanco is, which creates an interesting parallel between the 2 characters. Indeed, her instincts are disregarded and her reports are overlooked. However, in real life, Hawkins presents herself as a resilient figure, describing herself on Law Enforcement Talk podcast as a tough old broad with a strong constitution. Despite enduring countless harrowing experiences during her 3-decade career, including the intense pursuit of Griselda Blanco, Hawkins revealed that witnessing police footage of her adult son, Eric Reynolds, being shot in the line of duty was more emotionally taxing than anything else she encountered. Fortunately, her son survived. So, is Detective June Hawkins a real person? Yes. In the series, Blanco heads to California to evade the vengeance of rival drug lord Rafael Cardona Salazar. Following an incident where Salazar's girlfriend dies, while both she and Blanco are under the influence of cocaine, Blanco, upon discovering Salazar's presence on the West Coast, makes a bold move by contacting authorities herself in a bid to stall his retaliation. However, the real story paints a slightly different picture. By 1984, authorities had traced Blanco to California, where she had relocated after accumulating numerous adversaries in Miami. After months of surveillance, federal agents stormed into her residence in Irvine, California. Subsequently, in 1985, she received a 15-year prison sentence for her involvement in a cocaine importation conspiracy. Despite her incarceration, Blanco purportedly continued orchestrating drug transactions from behind bars through her romantic partner, a dealer who had initiated contact with her through a fan letter in 1991. In 1994, prosecutors, with Ayala as their key witness, pressed 3 murder charges against her, aiming for capital punishment. However, mirroring the series, the murder trial collapsed after revelations surfaced about inappropriate relationships between Miami-Dade County State Attorney's Office personnel and Ayala. Following the scandal, Blanco struck a deal with federal authorities. She admitted guilt to the 3 murder charges and was handed 3 concurrent 20-year sentences. Before completing her full term, she was deported to Colombia in 2004, where she resided in an upscale gated community. 8 years later, at the age of 69, Blanco met her demise at a Medellin butcher shop, succumbing to gunshots fired by an assailant on a motorcycle, employing the very same method she was reputed to have popularized. In the series, her death is revealed in on-screen text at the end of the finale. So, did the Netflix series accurately depict Griselda's downfall and death? Mostly. In conclusion, while Netflix's Griselda does depict many of the most important events and characters from Blanco's life, the series does make a number of significant changes to the story, which result in it not being entirely accurate. What was the most enjoyable part for you? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more fascinating content exploring the difference between movies and reality.